My step-grandmother exploited me after my father's demise. I've always believed that family helps family without expecting anything in return. So when I found out that my stepmother's mother, SGM, and my aunt had been spending time clearing out my father's house after his passing, I was deeply appreciative. However, what started as gratitude quickly turned into frustration when they hinted at expecting payment, without ever discussing it with me beforehand. Let me back up a little. I'm 46 years old, and 3 months ago, I lost my dad. I was his only child, and his passing has left a deep void in my life. He lived 2 hours away from me, but only 10 minutes away from my stepmother's family, who had been like a second family to both him and me after my parents divorced. My stepmother, SM, passed away from cancer in 2021, and Dad never quite recovered from the loss. His relationship with SM's family grew even closer after her death, and mine with him grew stronger too. Losing him has been devastating. When my father passed, he left everything to me. His retirement account, the house, and savings, for a total estate worth about $750,000. This was no secret. The family was well aware of the inheritance. After his services, I had to return home for work and had planned on driving back and forth to his house regularly to sort through his things. There was a lot to do, and I knew it would take time. About 2 weeks after the funeral, I got a call from SGM asking how I was doing. She then mentioned that she and my aunt had been going over to my dad's house daily to help clear things out and organize. I was incredibly thankful. I hadn't expected anyone to do that, but I appreciated their help and told her I'd be up soon to assist. They kept going over to the house nearly every day for about a month, and I figured I'd treat everyone to a really nice meal to express my appreciation. I even thought about offering them money but assumed they'd refuse, as I would in their shoes. But then SGM said something that floored me. She made it clear they would accept money. The way she said it, it felt like it was expected. I was blindsided. Suddenly I found myself in an uncomfortable situation, wondering how much to offer without being insulting. I didn't want to cause a rift, but I also couldn't believe they were asking for compensation, especially without any prior discussion. Here's where my frustration comes in. If my family needed help, I would help. No strings attached. That's how I've always operated. They didn't tell me they were going to do this work. They just took it upon themselves and then informed me after the fact. I never asked for their help. They never said anything about expecting payment until the work was already done. We never had a conversation about how much they expected to be paid. I felt like they had set me up to be in this awkward position, knowing I wouldn't argue about money because, frankly, I don't like conflict. And because they were aware of the size of my father's estate, it felt like they were trying to take advantage of the situation. When I finally confronted SGM about how much would be appropriate, she initially suggested $2,000 each, $4,000 total. I was stunned. $4,000? I managed to negotiate it down to $2,000 total, but I was still in shock. When SGM talked about finishing the work, she said they'd done it out of loyalty to my father, but it didn't feel that way to me. It felt more like they saw an opportunity for a payday. Here's the thing. I wouldn't have minded paying them if we had discussed it beforehand, and I had agreed to it. But for them to just do the work, then expect payment afterward, felt manipulative. They knew I wouldn't want to cause conflict and that I'd give in, because family is important to me. It feels like they took advantage of my grief and the fact that they knew the estate had money. Now, I'm stuck in this moral dilemma. Am I wrong for feeling taken advantage of? Should I just be grateful they helped and not care about the money? Or is my frustration justified because they never communicated their expectations clearly? I'm genuinely torn and could use some impartial advice.